Let's begin today's Vanguard news with all the card of the day I missed due to my internet service provider subcontracting engineers that make stupid excuses just so they can time out early. Pretty Assistant Fremy when placed on rear guard from hand during your main phase lets you discard a card in hand to draw a card, and she gets to K power if your Vanguard's grade is equal or lower than your opponent's Vanguard. Let's all be honest here, you only care to put her into your waifu card collection. Embracer of heterogeneous atoms, while on rear guard at the end of the battle he boosted, while you have a grade 3 or higher Vanguard makes you reveal the top card of your deck then add it to your hand. If it's a set order, mill it instead. If it was not, then this card is retired if you added a card with this ability. Sometimes I wonder if the dev team plays their own game. You want to add set orders and play them before declaring your battle phase and not during the battle phase where it tells your opponent that you have a brick in your hand during their turn. Inflaton Deflector while on rear guard during your turn gets 5k power if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher and either player's cards was put to your order zone this turn. And when it's put on the Guardian Circle, you can pay 1 Soul Blast if you have 5 or more damage or an attack hit your Vanguard this turn to get 10k shields. It's a bit on the nose that they had to word the first ability in a way that will make it work even in Aurora Battle Princess. On a side note, the Argandia clone Dark State got last week turns out to be a cycle card. I think I'll call them 15k cyclers, since they would have a total of 15k power and shields. Demonic Dragon Nymph Joy once per turn while on rear guard prevents your opponent from intercepting when she boosts if your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher and you played a normal order this turn. Borshiro please just stop. Nymph decks are never going to be a thing unless you make an actual ride line. And what the hell is with that random body stocking covering on her cleavage? Guess someone at the ratings board didn't like seeing snake girl tits. Think of all the adult men who play this game. Soaking Draco Kid while in the drop zone lets you pay 3 energy when Secret Bath Dragon Cry Hot Springs is played from your hand and put into your order zone to call itself to rear guard, and it gets 5k power if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher. The devs are so confident with the current meta being filled with Dragon Empire decks that they have time to experiment with random bullshit such as Nymph cards and this weird support for a set order that nobody even uses. Jolt Spark Dragon while on rear guard during your turn gets 5k power if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher and your opponent has 1 or less rear guards. And when it's put on the Guardian Circle, you can pay 1 Soul Blast if you have 5 or more damage or an attack hit your Vanguard this turn to get 10k shields. It's kind of strange that it's only now we are getting 15k cyclers when the game has come to a point where most attacks now pushes for at least 30k at minimum. You'd still lack 5k shields even with this card, thus defeating its purpose. With those out of the way, it's time to give the anime characters that won't be playing this season some cards just so those who are too invested with character development over actual good card game animation can feel validated about their 10 acrylic stands sitting in the corner of their room. Rockbound Edge Dragon while on rear guard gets 5k power when it attacks while you have a grade 3 or higher Varga Vanguard. Then you can soul charge 1 card. And while in the drop zone, you can pay 3 energy if you have a grade 3 or higher Varga Vanguard to call itself to rear guard, then it gets 5k power if your Vanguard is in Malworm state. It's about damn time that Varga got a Maple clone, especially when it's a deck that punishes you for simply using it. Varga getting an energy charger in the same set now makes sense, since this card will be fighting Shura for energy. Capable Mechanic Faffle when placed on rear guard lets you add up to 1 product card from the top 3 cards of your deck, then putting the rest to the bottom in any order. And while on rear guard, he gets 5k power when he attacks, and you operated a grade 3 or higher product card this turn. Be honest, you thought this was a Dark State unit card just from the artwork. And Wellstra already has enough ways to set up all the product he needs more consistently. This card feels so unnecessary. Blitz near Mobile Hill Dented when placed on rear guard lets you pay 1 counter blast to add up to 1 product cards with Blitz but with different names from the top 7 cards of your deck. And once per turn while on rear guard, you can discard a card in hand when you have a Wellstra Vanguard with a divine skill and you haven't played an order this turn to put a product card from your drop zone into your order zone. But you cannot play an order card this turn. Like I said earlier, Welstra already had enough ways to search out all the product card he needs. Am I missing something? Since I haven't played against Welstra for a long time. Silver main stallion once per turn, while on the back row rear guard lets you pay 1 soul blast when your Vanguard with the revolve dress ability is placed to stand itself. But it gets retired at the end of that turn. Sfilt already does this card's job but better, even if this works on your rear guard column. Knight of Breaking Raw best looking, while in the drop zone lets you pay 1 soul blast when your grade 3 or higher Youthberk Vanguard is placed during your Ide phase, and don't have another rear guard with the same name as this card to call himself to rear guard. And while on rear guard or the Guardian Circle, he gets 5k power and shields. If you have a grade 3 or higher Youthberk Vanguard, then he gets another 5k power if you have a Youthberk card in your bind zone. Everyone is getting a Maple clone, even the decks, where you can tech Maple herself. This card gets even better as he's also a stronger attacker and intercept. Finally, Knight of Sworn Oath Knifed when placed on rear guard lets you pay 1 counter blast if you have a Youth Vanguard to reveal up to 1 card from the top 7 cards of your deck, then either add it to your hand if it was a Youthberk card, or call it to an open rear guard if it was a unit card with a different name than this unit and has a grade equal or lower than your Vanguard. And once per turn while on rear guard, you can pay 1 soul blast when he attacks to get 5k power for each Youthberk card you have on Vanguard and in the bind zone. The devs want players to stop using the Caterpillar in this deck, that it gave it an easier way of getting card advantage as well as get a stronger attacker, or you can double down and use this along with the Caterpillar, just to make every player whine about Sega or needing to be choice restricted from Youthberk next. And that concludes this Vanguard news without the bullshit. Special thanks to my Patreon members for continuing to support my content creation. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments which deck is getting a Maple clone next, so I can feel bad for Thegria even more.